Hi and welcome to video number 3 for the Canadian Real Estate Network. I am Gary Spencer-Smith of RevNyou Real Estate Education, and in this video we're going to talk about the power of taking action. Now so many people talk about doing. It's one of the reasons why getting involved in real estate is so awesome, because so many people talk about doing it, or they talk about it after the fact, years gone, and they go, I wish I shoulda, woulda, coulda way back when. When was the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, so you can have the benefits of the shade today. When is the next best time to plant a tree? Right now. So 20 years from now, you can have the benefits of the shade. Now, the power of action versus inaction. A lot of people look into properties and they'll run all their spreadsheets, they'll run these deals, and I'm not saying you shouldn't calculate and do your math correctly and work out exactly what your costs and expenses are. But a lot of people overanalyze stuff. They get really so far down, and then they're looking for something better, and then they'll try and find something better, and then they'll try and find something better, and then they'll analyze this, then they'll go and analyze that. And it's an analysis paralysis is the term that we use all the time. One of the best things I ever did was I purchased my first townhouse in Canada. I'd had a rental property in the UK, but I purchased my first townhouse in Canada here, and yeah, I kind of knew why. I was hoping it was, for my kids' education in the future. That was the reason behind my initial purchase. But then what happened was, a year later, I was due on a trip back to the UK. I had equity in the house. I didn't have the cash for this trip. And it was a big Christmas trip, a huge family trip, like one of these real nice things, go back. And I was like, oh, how do I get this money out of the house? But I looked at the numbers and I'm like, well, I've got 20 grand. So I approached someone, a joint venture partner, and said, look, there is $20,000 of equity in this house. Do you want to buy this equity from me right now? There's like 30,000 because I'd had my deposit in there. I went, there's an extra 20 grand. If you give me the 20,000 now, you don't have to qualify for a mortgage because I'm already on the mortgage, I already own the house. And if the house has to sell tomorrow, you get your 20,000 back and we split all the money 50-50 after that. So he looked at the math and he went, well, if I sell it tomorrow, I get 20,000 back. Plus I get 5,000 of your money. So he was like, that's 25% return on my money. He's like, sure, I'll do that. That made sense to him. 25% return on his money. Sounds a lot, but it was achievable. So then I thought to myself, okay, I put 6,000 down. I got 20,000 back. 1 year time frame. I did the math on calculating ROI, which you'll see in one of the videos in this series. That was a 300% return on investment inside 1 year. The power of me just buying that house, not really knowing what I was doing with it or how I was going to pan out for 20 years, the power of that led me to this, which opened my eyes to what was possible, which was making 300% return on investment a year. That's when I looked and I was like, holy shit, how do I duplicate that process? How do I duplicate that? I didn't ask myself, how can I buy more houses? How do I raise capital? What kind of house do I buy? I just asked myself, how do I duplicate exactly what I've just done? From the quality of that question, that led me into various other things. So the power of taking action was that it opened my eyes to what is possible. And then it made me ask different questions, which sent me down a different path, which was educating myself about real estate, educating myself about how to get joint venture partners, educating myself about how to get capital, educating myself about how to calculate return on investments, and show people how they can make really high quality returns in a pretty secure investment. I mean, real estate is pretty secure. You can lick the brick. You can go kick the walls. It's a solid investment. It's not based on all these things. Now, there are rules that you will learn about how to find the right property, about, and we've mentioned this in a previous video, making sure you get the right property for the type of tenant profile, for your exit strategies. There are rules that you want to follow about what area to buy in, what town, what makes a town good, what makes a town bad. There are things that you do want to look at. But the best thing you can do is go out and purchase that first house, because that first house is going to lead you down a path of discovery, a path of discovery about real estate investing, a path of discovery about the potential of real estate and the power it has on you. The other thing about action versus inaction. So I read a book, which I'm sure quite a few of you have read this book if you're onto the Canadian Real Estate Network here. It was a little purple book by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know what? I'm going to put a link to that because that was the first book. When I read that book, there'll be a link in the comments that you can click on to go get this book if you haven't read it already. The simplicity of that book, that led me down to a path of education. Now, someone else was with me at the same time. He read the same book. We did the same education at the same time. The only difference was I took action on the education that I had. He did not. He did nothing. And he's still sitting today, renting his house. He's wondering about his future as his retirement's approaching. Whereas myself, we've built a substantial portfolio of real estate. We have a multitude of joint venture partners that we have generated a ton of money for in our real estate programs. I now get to choose the life that I want based around the real estate that we've invested in. And this whole process took less than 7 years. Less than 7 years. I actually achieved a 20-year goal. And it took me 3 years from deciding that I was going to do it to getting that goal. And that was owning a lakefront waterfront property on a beautiful lake on Vancouver Island here. I got to live that dream because I took action in real estate. That action led me down a path of discovery, of learning more about what was possible, and then taking those lessons, applying them, learning from them, compounding it. And that compounding effect of taking action and learning and correcting and learning more, and then correcting and learning more, and progression, that just led me to truly a life where I'm truly blessed. And that's what we want for you to happen. So you have to take some action. Now, I'm not saying rush out and buy a house tomorrow. I'm like, do not rush out and just buy a house tomorrow. I'm saying take some action, get a bit of education, take some action, do some due diligence on whatever that you're going to buy. Take some due diligence if you're going to go into a joint venture with a partner of the people that you're going to do. Like, do the correct diligence, do the processes, do the steps, but don't overanalyze. Don't get stuck in the what if. Actually take action. Even if you make a mistake in your first house, the lesson that you learn from that. I can tell you now, I've done joint ventures where nobody's ever lost money. My joint venture partner's always done well, but I have made big mistakes that have cost me money or cost me time in my life. It's always been good for the joint ventures, but I've learned from that along the way. So action, because here's the mathematical equation. For all you math geniuses, you engineers out there, doesn't matter what you do, you could have all this knowledge, all this intent, all this passion, but if you multiply that by 0 of action, the net result will be 0. So you don't have to take massive action, but take some action. Take some steps towards achieving those. I mean, you're here for a reason. You're here because you want to own real estate. You're just not sure what the next step is. The next step is to decide what you want and then start taking some action towards it every single day. Even if that's only one step, one tiny step, one little bit of knowledge. It could be like, instead of turning on the radio in the morning, turn on a podcast of someone that's got real estate. Patrick Francie, a great real estate. Podcasts are free. The Everyday Millionaire, he talks about that. He's also the CEO of the Real Estate Investment Network. So, you know, there are lots of people putting quality content out there for free. But don't get stuck in just listening to it and doing nothing, because anything multiplied by nothing is nothing. And you don't want to spend all this time and waste it and achieve nothing. So do something. Take action and set your intention and take action towards that intention. I wish you all the best. If you would like to message me and tell me where you're stuck, I will gladly, at no cost, give you some advice and point you in the right direction so you can start to take action in the right direction to get the life that you want, and that's to use real estate to help fund your life. I'm Gary Spencer Smith from RevNyou Real Estate Education, and this is for the Real Estate Investment Network. And I look forward to seeing you next time on the next video.